bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe. Let's do this, man. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer, and NX Networks. Race Hobbs, I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? What an amazing week this week here on Fade to Black. Monday night, Whitley Strieber. Tuesday night, me. Last night, Richard Dolan. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe. And tonight, Linda and I are going to talk about Contact 2.0. No Fader night this week. Kind of strange, feels weird, but we'll get back to it next week. We will. Coming up, I've got a bunch of events coming up. And on August 16th, Tuesday night, next month in Los Angeles, specifically Studio City, I will be at UPARS. UPARSLA.org is where you want to go for tickets and information. And I've told everybody, and I really need to stress this, it's going to be sold out. We only have seating for 200. And so you need to go and get signed up, get your reservations, get your tickets, do whatever you got to do right now if you are in or around Los Angeles. And then in September, the weekend of September 19th and 20th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, I will be in Joshua Tree, California for a Skywatch, a private Skywatch with Billy Carson. And we will be at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center, where they used to have Contact in the desert. And that's where we are going to be. We're also going to Giant Rock. Now, we have space for a couple of extra Fadernauts, but there's only one way to get access to this event. And that is you have to have a Forbidden Knowledge black card. And to get a black card, you have to go to forbiddenclub.com. That is forbiddenclub.com and mint 10 NFTs. That's right. That's how you get a black card. And so black card holders are coming to this event. That's it. Black card holders only. Okay? That's where you got to go. People have been asking me. It is forbiddenclub.com. Mint your 10 NFTs. You get your black card, and then you can go to this event. And that is the weekend of September 18th, 19th, and 20th. We're going to be in Joshua Tree, Night Vision. All of that's going to be great. And also, we are going to Giant Rock. So there you go. So that's coming up. And then I'm going to start this next week. I'm not ready to, I've got stuff ready, but I'm also going to be speaking on a cruise. And this is in early 2023 departs out of Los Angeles, heads down to Mexico, and then returns back here into Los Angeles. And I will get you all of that info, and we'll start running it on Monday. So that event is coming up. So lots of things, and then, of course, Conscious Life Expo. And here we are heading, once we get into August, we're talking about 2023 events. And there is a huge announcement also that is like the humongo announcement. We're going to make this in a couple of weeks. Also for 2023, might be the biggest event in the world. And wait till you hear about this one. Whew, man. All right. I want you to go to UNX Network. Oh, I don't have. Oh, man. It's in the. It's in my front room. The new issue of the UNX magazine. It is so excellent. And you can get your free membership right now to the UNX Network. Go to the unxnetwork.com. You're going to get the monthly newsletter. You're going to get blog access. You're going to get event notices. You're going to get discounts to events like Cape Girardeau that is coming up. You can go to that and you will get the UNX magazine, the digital copy for free. So go right now. It's free. Sign up over at the unxnetwork.com. Also, still going on just for the Fadernots is the Eden Pure right now Thunderstorm BOGO. Buy one, get one free. I keep talking about this. I think I'm going to end up having one of these in every room in my home. I love it. And it's you can plug it into the wall. You can see that right there in the back. You can use USB for your car. I use USB here in the studio, so I can move it around and do it. Got one plugged in the wall in my kitchen. I've got one plugged in the wall in my home gym. Got one in my car. You've got to get the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. It is the best air purifier. Kills viruses. Well, and it just kills odors. That's the thing. It is just pure air. That's what you are left with, that air that you smell right after a thunderstorm. So the links are below. You can click. The promo code is Fader BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Buy two, get two free. Buy five, get five free. You can do it right now with the promo code Fader BOGO. Eden Pure Thunderstorm. It is the absolute best. It is. It is. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, at JChurchRadio. Follow me on Instagram at Jimmy Church Radio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. It's live right in front of me. And like it always is, hashtag F2B is the sandbox. And there you go. Now, I do want to say, I posted the video of this. Absolutely cool. Can you see that? That's right. Linda's on the show tonight. So there you go. She probably has one of these. There's your cow, and there's your flying saucer. This is from Jessica Rodriguez. And now you can pick up the cow. I'm not going to do that live on the air. If it was Fader night, I would, but it is just so cool. And I want to thank Jessica for this. You just flip open the top. There's your little dude, right? Press his head. Ooh. It's the coolest thing ever. You need to reach out to Jessica. That's where she got that. Everybody's going, I want one. I want one. I know, right? So cool. All right. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Jessica's hanging out there. She's probably in the chat room. I haven't been over in the chat room. So there you go. Let's get to the breaking news. A police officer in Pennsylvania fatally shot a 15-foot snake. Shot the snake in the head. He did this yesterday. Are you ready? While the snake was coiled around a man's neck while he was having a heart attack. Just after 2 p.m. yesterday, 2 officers from the Upper Macungie Township Police Department responded to a call that a male with a snake wrapped around his neck was having a heart attack. They arrived at the man's home to find the victim was lying on the floor unresponsive. At that point, the officer had to make a split decision, and luckily, because of the distance between the victim and the head of the snake, the officer was able to fire one shot that just injured the reptile. The snake uncoiled and slithered away, allowing the officers to provide emergency medical assistance and took him to the hospital. The man survived, but the present condition of the snake that got away is unknown. That's a horror movie. That's absolutely incredible. Astronomers have spotted what may be the 2 most distant galaxies that have ever been seen, hiding in the early release images from NASA's newest space telescope. The James Webb Space Telescope's early science work includes a program called the GRISM Lens Amplified Survey from Space, otherwise known as GLASS. Through GLASS, astronomers are scrutinizing the galaxy cluster Abell 2744, which is so massive that its gravity is able to distort the space around it and act as a gravitational lens to magnify the images of far more distant galaxies behind it. Astronomers led by Rohan Naidu of Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics discovered the 2 candidate galaxies called GLASS Z11 and GLASS Z13 in the first batch of data that they got from GLASS. Now, the galaxies designations, 11 and 13, come from the fact that the astronomers have measured their redshifts to be 11 and 13, respectively. Absolutely incredible. Well, the news is breaking, and I know that you have heard it. The Department of Defense has created an office to track unidentified objects in space and air and underwater, or even those that appear to travel between these domains. Now, as I get more information about all of this, I'll let you know. That'll be by Monday. Absolutely incredible. Let's get this show cracking. On this day in history, 2011, NASA's Space Shuttle program comes to an end with its final 135th mission when the shuttle Atlantis lands at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Fader fact, NASA has released, this is a fact and this is vetted, NASA has released a paper on how their revolutionary EM drive works, but they can't explain how it defies Newton's third law of motion. And that is your Fader fact. Tonight on this very program, we have very special guest. Something in my throat. Linda Moulton Howe is back. We're going to be talking about Contact 2.0. Linda, we still have another 15 minutes. She just perked up and looked and heard that and said, what, are we on the air? No, not yet, Linda. She is studying. I am watching her right now. Tonight, Linda's with us. We're going to be talking about Contact 2.0. There is no Fader night this week, no open lines, and there you go. Now, I'm going to hit this River Moon coffee. rivermoonwellness.com. That was weird. Something was in my throat and it like hit my vocal cord, whatever it was, felt tiny, and I couldn't talk. Oh, man. rivermoonwellness.com. Promo code F2B Blend will get you 15% off of your order today if you visit their website And if you go to the Amazon store, you will get free shipping. All right. So you can just search. We have the links over there. Man, I love this flying saucer. This thing is so cool. All right. Now, a couple of things before I get started here. I just want to give a shout out to Ken Priest. And I know that I give Ken a lot of grief because he's so cool and he's so funny and he makes me constantly stand at attention and not slack off like he's doing right now in Twitter. But I want to give a special shout out to Ken because Ken is coming to town and he's opening a new restaurant here in Southern California. And I'm very excited about this because his restaurant chain is called Rise. Biscuits, that's why it's called Rise, and everything to do with biscuits. And I love that part of it. And so Ken's coming to town. And yes, we're going to probably do a sky watch and going to have him over at the house and things. But more importantly is I have to give a special shout out to Ken because I'm going to be eating in his restaurant. And I want to make sure that everything is safe and extra special for me. And it will be if I just give a shout out to Ken Priest. I've got my Rise hat. Where is it? Oh, I should be wearing it right now. But Ken's coming to town. He's going to be out here for a couple of weeks, and he's opening a restaurant. And he is an OG Fader Knot, and it's going to be totally awesome. So excited about all of this. So, Ken, big shout out to you, and I'll see you in a few days. So there you go. I can't wait. A blueberry. I think this is what they had on the menu. I've got other stuff to talk about, but I got to mention. I think Ken. Excuse me, Ken. You have to. Oh, look at that. Deuce Diaz says, Jimmy, I got the thunderstorm for the house and the truck. And he's got pictures. There you go. Right on, Deuce. A blueberry biscuit with sausage, egg, cheese, and I think maple syrup. How does that sound? That sounds perfect. Sounds perfect. All right. Where am I at? This is where I'm going. I found myself saying over the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure that all of you have caught this, but let me be very clear. I am all about the woo. I am all about the woo. I am. And it's easy to be all about the woo. And it's also fun, right? But once you open your mind to possibilities, and I say it all the time, you ponder the significance, right? Once you do that, it's a cool place to go. And there's that part. But you need to protect yourself. And one of the things that I have been fascinated with my entire life is science. And I'm not smart enough to be a scientist or a physicist. I struggle with math, and there's just reasons for that. But that doesn't mean I can't have a huge interest in it. And I do. And documentaries and books. And then a set of encyclopedias to me is like the greatest thing in the world. And and I'm not making this up. One day, I was literally across the street from my house, and I'm walking back home. This was about 20 years ago, and I'm walking home 1 block, right? And something in my throat, and I look on the sidewalk is a stack of books, like 4 or 5 books. And pretty thick. And I look down, and I've got stuff with me, and I look down, I'm like, what, why is this sitting on the road, on the sidewalk next to my house? And I look down, and they are college textbooks. gold, right? So I pick them up and take them home. And one of the textbooks was, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like the history of the ancient world. I was like, oh man, this thick. And I read that 50 times. I'm saying 50 because I still have the book and I read it all the time. That's where my mind is. That's what I love. But I'm all about the woo. So you combine that, right? You combine that with an experience like I had the first time that I saw something move in the sky. Not a UFO sighting, not, because I've already, I've had those. But when you see something move in the sky, it's not supposed to be moving. And I looked up, it was my first time with night vision. And I looked straight up just to look at the stars. Wow. Like everybody does the first time. Whoa. Right. You do that. And I'm looking, and as I look, this is the luck of the draw, right? This is the rookie stuff that happens. The first time you play a slot machine and you hit it for a jackpot and you think that happens all the time. That's what I'm talking about here. And I'm looking up and I'm looking at, and I see this star moves. It goes and stops. And I'm like, what? What was that? And I go back up and I look at the star that just moved and it moves back and stops. Now, at that point, I nearly, the adrenaline rush that I went through, and the electricity that went through my body to my fingertips down to my toes, I almost passed out. It was like that. It was a pretty intense rush. And I leaned over and I put my hands on my knees. It's like, what? That is woo. That's an exposure to something that, wait a minute here, and your whole world just slows down. And you're wondering about that. Now, that is right there. That's where you apply the science. That's where you start thinking about the other things. What is that? And how is it happening? And that's why I can be all about the woo. And it doesn't matter if it's ghosts, if it's Bigfoot and cryptids, of course, UFOs and aliens and contacts and hybrids and I could just continue the list, right? Time travel. The list is so alternate universes, right? Parallel worlds, the Mandela effect. I could list forever. That's why I'm open to anything, and that's why I enjoy the woo. But with the Mandela effect or with time travel or with alien hybrid programs or with, I go and I look at the science. The science allows me to keep my head together. And I'm okay with that. And I've been saying it out loud over the last couple of weeks. And I don't know what what the motivation was to say this suddenly out loud, because that was my own little secret little world, my thing, my rationalization to all of this is that I can woo out all day with my friends. I can woo out at dinner. I can woo out on the show. But when I'm in my private time, I am about the science. I am trying to figure this out. And I keep going back to the science and sharing that with all of you. Because once we are armed with the science, with this community and the things that we talk about, we're going to win. Now, I have been talking to scientists, high level, scientists that aren't necessarily into any of this, but they recognize that their work is really woo. It's getting out there, man. And everything that we talk about here, whether it's consciousness or life after death or ghost or alien hybrid programs, science and us, which were always heading in the opposite directions, right now, we're on a collision course. And I've always felt that I was on the right path with that mindset. Go woo. Let's go. Let's go woo. But I need the science. I would love to be the guy, that one day says, okay, here we go. This is the proof. This is what I was talking about here. This is what you were asking me questions about over here. And now science says it is so. And we are so close to that moment. We're so close. We're so close. And that's how I've kind of stayed objective because I'm so wooified. It's the church of woo around here. I'm so wooified, but I haven't stepped off the edge of the cliff. I stay there because of science. Now, I'm talking about all of this tonight because Linda Moulton Howe is our guest. And one of the things that I appreciate about Linda, and my mind never stops getting blown about this. I mean, this is a fact. It's simple. She goes for the science. She looks at the most wonderful, insane subjects and takes a look at the science. And when she turns around and rattles off to me the science side of all of this, whether it's dates or facts or chemistry or physics, and pulls that into this other world that we wonder about. And it's exciting for me to have Linda on the show because it's everything that I enjoy, and it's the stuff that keeps me moving forward. And that's what we're going to do tonight. Now, there's one other thing. I don't know if Linda can hear me right now. She went to go get coffee. Is this, for the first time, are you sitting down? Linda Moulton Howe is joining me on camera. That's right. For the first time tonight, Linda Moulton Howe is joining us here on Fade to Black. We've got everything set up. We are ready to go. And I am so excited. So you stay right there. Right after the break, Linda Moulton Howe is with us. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer and UNX Networks. Race Hobbs. I am your host, Jimmy Church. And I'll be right back with Linda Moulton Howe. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Right now, Eden Pure is having their famous BOGO deal on thunderstorm air purifiers. One listener wrote, "It makes a huge difference in our cat litter box stink. I just wish I waited for the BOGO deal. I need another one." Well, now's the time. BOGO is back, so when you buy one thunderstorm, you get one free. No matter how many you buy 2, you get 2 free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. The thunderstorm will completely eliminate any odor, even the worst like pets, cigarette smoke, urine, and cooking. Now is the time to order. Eden Pure's buy one, get one free sale is 1 week only. With over 265,000 thunderstorms sold and countless 5-star reviews, you know it works. People are buying several for around the home and even as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use discount code FADERBOGO. That's FADERBOGO, FADERBOGO. BOGO is buy one, get one free. That's EdenPureDeals.com, discount code FADERBOGO. And as always, shipping is free.
Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Then you'll love the UnXNetwork.com. The X is your streaming audio and video for everything supernatural, strange, and mysterious, like UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more. From hosts like Jimmy Church, Whitley Strieber, Micah Hanks, and Christina Gomez. Visit the UnXNetwork.com show page for a complete list of all the paranormal programs you'll find on the X. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates at KUNXDB. Follow our Facebook group, UnX Network. Find the podcast on Spotify, iHeart, Audible, and Apple Podcast. It's time. It's new. It's the X.
Right now, the world couldn't be more chaotic. History shows us what gold does when the world goes crazy. It goes up in value. Right now, we're in unprecedented times. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against the hyperinflation that's happening right now. So, what can you do to protect yourself? Call my friend Alan Johnson at United Gold Group. He's dedicated to helping people secure their retirement income. He'll help you with gold, with silver, and other precious metals, and show you how to set up your own self-directed IRA. Safe and secure, United Gold Group makes gold ownership easy and affordable. There couldn't be a better time, so call now and get a silver American Eagle proof set with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com. Reach out to my friend, Alan Johnson.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe is with us. Contact 2.0. Linda is a graduate of Stanford University with a master's degree in communication and has received local, national, and international awards, including 3 regional Emmys, a national Emmy nomination, and a Station Peabody Award. She produces reports and edits EarthFiles.com, and of course, she hosts her live YouTube show each week. It's been on Ancient Aliens, by the way, since its first season. She has traveled to Venezuela, Peru, Brazil, England, Norway, France, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Yugoslavia, Turkey, Ethiopia, Kenya, Egypt, Australia, Japan, Canada, Mexico, the Yucatan, and Puerto Rico for her research and productions. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one, the only, Linda Moulton Howe. Linda, good evening.
I love hearing you list those countries. A time when the world was, you could travel and not be attacked.
But times haven't changed. You know, in that I think after the 2 years, right now, today, this is what I did today. I went to, I haven't done this yet, but I did it today. I had to go to a government office and get my TSA, pass, right? And I'm going to Egypt in a couple of months. I'm heading out of the country before that. I've got a couple of other flights, and I've got some TVs here. And so for the rest of the year, finally, right, I'm back on planes, and I'm going to be traveling like every weekend through the end of the year. And I am excited about this. First off, I'm leaving the house. Right? I'm leaving the house, but the necessity of doing that with a TSA and getting everything rocked is telling me slowly, hopefully, that we're gonna get this thing back on track one way or another. It's what humans do.
Well,
we survive.
I have a pilot friend who said, "Don't put anything valuable that you need in a suitcase.
Never. Oh no.
Carry on."
Yeah, right. Have you? I lost my luggage once. Checked it. It got lost. That's it. If I can't put it in one carry-on bag, it stays at home, and that thing goes with me on the plane. There is no way I will check bags. No. Did you see that? By the way, before we get started, did you? I think it was Delta. They booked a flight out of London to the United States with 1,000 pieces of lost luggage.
I saw the photo. My God. And it's scary because I think back pre-COVID, 2019. That year of 2019, I was using 46 airline tickets that year, meaning sometimes you can have 2 tickets for one way and 2 tickets for another. So it was about 12, 13, 14 trips.
Sure.
But that's the way the world was up through 2019. It seems like another solar system to me, like a whole nother life, because everything has been so terrible in terms of travel.
And by the way, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
And we have now, we've been hanging out, and I don't know how many, we've probably done 100 interviews over the years.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're
doing this way, the digital world.
This is just totally awesome, and many more in the future. But this is totally great, and I wish everybody could have heard our conversation today as we started setting. Okay, so Linda, I called this show. We have called the show Contact 2.0.
Yeah.
And you've been at this
43 years.
43. Well, I didn't want to say it out loud, young lady.
I don't care. It's true.
43 years. Oh, and can I say this too? Since we're face to face, last year I had the honor of being a part of your birthday celebrations, both virtually, shot a video for you, but also in person, because then we got together here in LA,
right.
and we had so much fun, and to watch you present and to do this like you do, week after week after week around the world on television, in person, with me, with your audience. You are tireless, and you are an example for all of us for how exciting life is, and never take your foot off the gas. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Never give up and never stop. And what in the world, let alone the universe, could be more fascinating than trying to pin down exactly what are the other life forms, not only in the universe, but within 5 light years, 10 light years, 100 light years of where we are, and why through the history of Homo sapiens sapien the last 45,000 years, no power broker, no one has told general humans the truth. And that, to me, is one of the big mysteries that is worth doing everything, because what is it that creates a vested interest by other extraterrestrials in Earth? Why is there a vested interest in us? And we have never, ever been given the truth. And that, to me, is part of the whole reason to keep doing this. And it started with animal mutilations that were, and still to this day, are one of the greatest mysteries. Last night, I did a nearly 2-hour interview with a production crew in Australia. And they are dealing with where I started back in 1979. They have animals that have the same excisions, ear, eye, tongue, jaw, genitals, rectum, but they're a whole new generation. And they're like starting where I was in September of 79, calling me to do an interview about what is happening in Australia and what they did not know. And last night we went through all kinds of things that have happened in the animal mutilations that are tied directly to technologies by ETs. They did not know that if you go back to 79 to 80, that's 43 years ago, there were cases of kangaroos in Australia being found mutilated, dead, completely bloodless, no tracks, just like all the other animals. They didn't know that. And so we're passing the baton generation to generation. And it is, to me, it is so vital to keep giving as much information as I can, because I know the only thing that has ever driven me is the pressure of fact to understand this huge, gigantic story. And now to be in a place where my work has so many details, as they said last night, and photos. Most of the world doesn't have the photos. I was able to do film. I was able to take thousands of photographs, deal with sheriffs. And that's what's in my books, my documentaries. And at Earth Files, I have hundreds of, here, I'll just take this off. Who knows? I have hundreds of I think it's 363, something like that, reports at earthfiles.com, my news website that I've been doing since 1999, and why that is important to bring up. I can put the strange, bloodless, bizarre excisions in Earth Files behind a paywall. You can do that, but if you don't put it behind a paywall, YouTube or Google or all, they will bring your site down. So going all the way back to 1999, when I started putting earthfiles.com on the web, Real X-Files grew out of my wanting to share the facts. And the facts are not gory, bloody. The facts are precision. The facts are a veterinarian who had two halves of a cat brought into her office up in northwestern Washington and in Bothell. And she puts the x-rays that she takes and she puts them up on a screen, and she knows immediately something is wrong. They are not fitting they would on a cat. And these are in my Earth Files reports. There was we'll call it a slice, exactly 3 inches in diameter, taken from between the front half of the cat and the back half of the cat. Why? No blood, totally dry, no internal organs, everything. As the one of the police officers on that case, they said the front was like holding up a hand puppet. Nothing but the outside of the cat. Now, I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but I'm talking about how we've had an evolution of research in which there aren't many of us who put together hundreds, in my case, probably 1,000, where we have photos and photos and photos and photos, because we could do it easier in the 70s and the 80s than now. There is a chokehold in sheriff's offices, police departments, you hear and see anybody reporting about animal mutilations, and you try to talk with them like I could once upon a time, and they just don't want to talk with anybody in the media. They sort of close the wagons around mutilation cases.
Linda, unplug your phone.
It's off. Just unplug it.
Yeah, just unplug it.
I have to get up and go around.
Okay, well, we can hear it. We can hear it.
It'll stop soon. It's all the way over on another wall, so it will stop soon. Here, I'll put my film up. I'll tape it down there.
You gotta love live radio. Can I go back to your point that you made, which is significant? I want your opinion on this. Why not tell us the truth for so long when, especially now, where we have access to information, where you're going to end up getting caught, and that's eventually going to be much worse than just telling the truth about everything.
That's right.
You remember what your parents said, okay, did you take the cookie? No. If you just tell me the truth, right? And you thought, no, I can go ahead and lie to my parents. It'll be fine. No. And you end up getting caught, and it's much worse than if you would have just said, look, man, I took the cookie. I did. All right. I admit it. It would have been over. You ripped the Band-Aid off. What's the big deal? Why continue to hold back truth?
My dad and mom, they were so adamant. You never tell a lie, just like in the old days in some of the early 1950 TV shows. There were all these kids programs built around never tell a lie. Mm-hmm. And that's the way we grew up. And that, to me, is the only way you can live life and do anything in an honest and energetic way. And last night on my Earthfiles YouTube channel, I ended up saying to the audience something that just came into my head yesterday. Why is reality classified? That's what all this comes down to.
Exactly.
Reality is classified. And if we can't get past this sometime soon, I really do think that what then happens is the inertia of policies of lies and denial and all of the black world that is underground in the United States. That's where the money is. That's where the power brokers are. That's the military. That's the defense system. Weapons are the high priority. If we continue going on that route with the civilians always in the category, never tell them the facts. Keep them just nice and dumb and blind and happy. I don't think humanity will get past another generation. I think there will be an end game. Your ET or UFO 2.0, in many ways, I feel that something is happening and is changing. And last night, I did a sort of a let's look at the last 2 weeks, July 6th, July 13th, on July 20th. And let's look at facts, because I'll just try to compress it. 2 weeks ago on July 6th, I had we'll just put it this way, a communication from a military aerospace source who has been giving me very, very solid material for 3 years. I've never in any way, shape, or form even implied who he is, where he is. I can tell you he has been very solid. He, 1 year ago, confidentially sent me a photo of an elongated gray type with solid black eyes and said it was an orange gray. He wanted me to see what an actual biological ET looked like, whether I ever used it publicly. He wanted me. He said, you need to see. This is what some of us actually deal with.
Now, stop right there. Stop. Very important. orange gray.
Gray.
We're going to be talking about this a lot. So when we say orange gray,
yes,
we're talking about ET with a gray orange hue color.
Yeah, this is what I'm coming to.
Right.
In this photo that he sent a year ago, the head would be, I'd have to have two of my heads. They're very elongated. You think of the Paracas skull in Peru.
Okay.
But not quite as exaggerated. Veins underneath the skin. The eyes look like they are solid technology. They don't look like they're organic. And with that was a photo of a 4-fingered hand with not human-looking fingers, sort of, but not really. And the nails, a natural, not quite black, but an orange brown, dark. And he told me with those photos, he said, quote, there really is no gray that is gray. There is no gray as we as humans over the last 80 years since World War II, eventually being exposed really just to the gray types, and always called gray because they were shown to be gray skinned in illustrations. He says, the truth is no gray is gray in color. Even drone engineered grays like the 4-fingered hand in the photo are pale in color, similar to human skin. And notice the long, dark fingernails of this being. In your book, An Alien Harvest, Linda, on page 59, you quote abductee Judy Doherty describing 2 gray entities that were dissecting tissue from a mutilated calf taken from a pasture outside Houston, Texas in May of 1973. That's going back a half a century.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, their hands look funny. They have long claw nails, almost like an animal's dark nails, and they have very large heads. 50 years ago, a description that was recorded in a hypnosis session. Their bodies are thin. They have a gray body suit on, but I can see part of their skin. It's pasty looking and thin, like if you would touch it, it might pop. And then my military aerospace source said, quote, what witnesses mistakenly take for a gray's gray color is a special type of nanotechnology of woven material very similar to Kevlar, like a police vest. The suit functions as a type of exoskeleton to supplement the poor muscle mass ratio of these beings. It also has a secondary function of sensory awareness of the environment. It's self-activating software in the gray nanotechnology skin that they wear over their bodies.
Like the dragonfly.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
And that the ETs are doing self-activating software in everything. The crafts might as well be alive. They think. The suit is self-analyzing and intelligent. Probably these black eyes are completely and totally self-aware, self-activating software. And then he said, this suit also has a secondary function of sensory awareness of the environment. It is woven to the being. It is woven to the being before flight and kept on while out on assignments. AI biological clone grays keep the suit on almost its entire lifespan. The original tall grays use this same nanotechnology for similar reasons, but seldom use it while in space traveling. And then he goes into how the original grays from Epsilon Indi, they're the tall ones. They're the ones that abductees draw every once in a while, and they show the head almost up to a ceiling in an 8-foot room. And they can be surrounded by 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot. Those are all AI, all androids. The tall ones made this universe of all of these AIs. They are mission specific, Jimmy. This is really important. Our government has begun to understand. If you woke up and at the foot of your bed were 3 2-footers, 2 4-footers, and a 5-footer, they would be programmed specifically for you, where you are, where you live, or where you are when they get you. They will be programmed for that mission. Somebody else across town or across the world could have beings that looked exactly like what's at the foot of your bed. They are programmed nothing for where you are, not for the other half of the world. They are programmed specific, mission specific. This is very important in terms of understanding the difference between how humans think, work, and what we are dealing with, which are minds, as one man told me who worked with a tall white in a project, worked next to a tall white. He said, it was like I became aware that this mind is like 5 crays. It's biological. The tall white is biological, but the mind is like 5 cray computers.
5 cray computers. Got you.
And he said they would come to a strange problem. Of the entire context of the tall whites with my source is having to do engineering to do a QBR warp drive, which is tunneling in space and going light years in 3 or 4 days. Mm-hmm. They're actually doing that. And the tall whites have helped us evolve with that physics. And he said they would stop on a problem. And the tall white doesn't have to be verbal. It can be put images in your head, think, but it's so fast. Whatever the problem is, they go into this where they project their mind in the direction of whatever it is that they're trying to solve. They actually can extend their mind, as I've been told, into time. They can go in their mind in time and they can see a problem, then come back to what we would call the present, and they have it fixed.
How do they do that, Linda? Do it one more time. Let's take our break right here. We got to take a break.
Yeah, there's much more to come.
There's more to come. Linda Howe is with us tonight, and we are together. We will be right back after this short break. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. It is going to be one special conversation tonight. It is Contact 2.0. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer and UNX Network. Race Hobbs. We'll be right back more with Linda after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, VX.
Right now, Eden Pier is having their famous BOGO deal on thunderstorm air purifiers. One listener wrote, "It makes a huge difference in our cat litter box stink. I just wish I waited for the BOGO deal. I need another one." Well, now's the time. BOGO is back, so when you buy one thunderstorm, you get one free. No matter how many you buy 2, you get 2 free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. The thunderstorm will completely eliminate any odor, even the worst like pets, cigarette smoke, urine, and cooking. Now is the time to order. Eden Pier's buy one, get one free sale is 1 week only. With over 265,000 thunderstorms sold and countless 5-star reviews, you know it works. People are buying several for around the home and even as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use discount code FADERBOGO. That's FADERBOGO, FADERBOGO. BOGO is buy one, get one free. That's EdenPureDeals.com, discount code FADERBOGO. And as always, shipping is free.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright-Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe is with us on camera for the first time. It's about time. Linda is with us. And Linda, big shout out to Serena Wright-Taylor. That was pretty cool to hear her voice, our close mutual friend. And, you know, she's listening right now, and she just went,
Hi, Serena.
She is the absolute best, Serena Wright-Taylor. Okay, so the conversation is Contact 2.0. I want to continue where we left off.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you one quick question, if I may. The one, I admire you for many reasons, but you have always you've taken the woo, right? And you've applied science to it.
Yes.
In seeking answers. Was this a conscious decision, you know, like right out of college, and you were, we don't need to talk about the stories in San Francisco. We'll do that on another show again. But you understand where I'm going with this. Was this a conscious decision with your approach to research and journalism?
The Australian producer asked me the same question last night. And what I realize is that most people don't understand my life. I went from high school to beauty pageants in order to get scholarship money so I could go to college, because my dad worked for the state and didn't make very much money. And when I said to my dad, I really want to go to college, he said, I can't afford it, but he was a member of the Lions Club. And he said, they put on the Miss Boise, Miss Idaho, Miss America pageant. Why don't you apply? Because the whole point is scholarship money. And in 1962 to 63, that span, I was Miss Boise, became Miss Idaho, and went to the Miss America pageant and got the scholarship money that then put me through undergraduate at the University of Colorado. And I was hired by the senator then, Len B. Jordan of Idaho, to go to Washington to work in his office as a sort of an education specialist, that I was studying things that he would assign me. And then people who came to Washington from Idaho, I would tour them through the Capitol, through buildings. It was really quite wonderful. But that year, the Vietnam War was raging. And when I was at the University of Colorado, I worked on the Boulder Daily, the newspaper there. And we had the very first sit-in in the history of the United States against the Vietnam War at the University of Colorado, and I was in it. And I was in that wave, that tsunami generation that essentially stopped the Vietnam War. LBJ ended up saying, we're not going to murder our children over this war. And when I was in Washington, I would go down to the Foreign Relations Committee and listen in. And eventually, I kept asking myself a question. Who do you respect? It really began to bother me because early on, working in Washington, I was exposed to people lying for money, people doing all kinds of things in terms of getting their congressional representatives to do something. And I found myself asking that question a lot. Who do you respect? Who do you actually believe? And the only people that I could say yes to both of those questions were the reporters. And so suddenly I really wanted to go into reporting and documentaries, and applied, and Stanford University gave me a 2-year scholarship to work on a master's degree and paid for everything. And I came out of Stanford having made documentaries, having worked with producers in San Francisco, a whole lot of things, and married one of my classmates. I was the only girl with a class of 27 guys. The communications class, 66 to 68, was 28 people, and I was the only female. And right out of Stanford, we really got a great education because we had to do everything. We had to get the money for our film projects. We had to write the scripts. We had to run camera or audio or get students. And it was like being a self-production producer in school. And all of us ended up being hired right out of the communications department. I got a job at KNBC in Los Angeles as a reporter, covering everything. And I was asked to work in the documentary department and was working in a show in which we were going to Washington, Sacramento, Los Angeles on political issues, science issues, breakthrough issues. And my husband then wanted to get another degree. He had been to Yale. We met at Stanford. He wanted to go to Harvard to get an MBA. And that's why we left LA and why I left KNBC, but was hired by WCVB in Boston to do all their medical programming. That's where I got a Peabody. And when we left there, it was because my husband was hired by Time Inc. to start what? Their new cable video division. There was no cable. He and others were the young Turks who started putting all that together, and they wanted the video division to be in the middle of the US so that airline tickets would be Denver, LA, or Denver, New York, not New York to LA. That's why we were sent to Denver. And the head of the CBS station, that at the time was KMGH TV, had already contacted WCVB in New York, or in Boston, where we were at Harvard, and wanted my medical work. The Denver station was already, before we knew that we were going to be asked to move to Denver. And so I was hired even before leaving Boston by CBS to do medical work, science work, every single thing in my life up through WCVB and KMGH TV, covering all kinds of things, surgeries, disease, all sorts of things. And then coming to Channel 7, and they're wanting me to do things like get William Colby, who had been in the CIA, and do a show with the governor of the state of Colorado, who at the time was Lamb, do it in a big studio with an audience. And I found myself doing 4 shows with big audiences and those kinds of ingredients. Plus, they wanted me to do documentaries. So my life was filled to the gill in doing productions on science, environment, and medicine through the lens of the state of Colorado, where some of the best astronaut training was going on. And that was my documentary, A Prairie Dawn, on and on and on, that I was doing productions. So in the summer of 1979, with my cameraman, my audio guy, we were working on a film. We were having lunch. The audio guy was Mark O'Kane, best Steadicam operator I ever worked with. He could make you feel like you were floating through a room. He was so good. And he had just come off of a shoot of the brand new 2020 in New York. And we're having lunch working on this project for me. And Mark says, Linda, you know what a stickler you are about battery belts. Back then, crews in television lived or died about how you estimated how many battery belts you would need on a production. And if you screwed it up, you were screwed. So I always told Mark, who I love to work with, and my cameraman, make sure you have always no less than 7 or 8 powered battery belts. And that's what he was referring to. You know what a stickler you are about the battery belts. He said, I've just come from a shoot with this new 2020. He said, we've been in Kansas and Nebraska. These cows are dying, some horses, no blood, no tracks. And he said, we'd drive up, the crew would get out, I'd get out, we'd walk toward the animal. The director is saying, roll. Every piece of equipment would stop. At first, we couldn't understand whether it was an influence by something that was a frequency, but we were moving, he said. We were going different states. We weren't in the same place, but every time we tried to approach one of these animals, no blood, excisions, ear, eye, tongue, jaw, genitals removed, no tracks, Linda, around the body. Our battery belts, nothing. There was no power. And I said, well, what did you do in terms of filming? He said, they scrubbed it. But we had shot 110,000 feet of double system film. This is marked. Well, back then, nobody shot 110,000 double system. If you're in news, the budgets wouldn't have allowed it.
Right.
So I called after I got back to the station after lunch. I got a hold of 2020 in New York, said I'm the director of special projects at the CBS station in Denver. And my audio man, Mark O'Kane, just came off a shoot with you and is telling me that they couldn't keep the battery belts going. Yeah, that's right. Well, did you ever come to a conclusion about what the problem was? No, we don't know. Well, when are you going to air the story? We're never. No. I said, what do you mean? He told me that you shot over 100,000 feet. Yes, but we're in the business of news now, and we don't have any conclusion, so we've scrubbed it. And that, Jimmy Church, is the reason that I turned around to get into animal mutilations, because I wanted to find out what could stop those battery belts. That was what was in my mind. And as the first 2 weeks, talking with sheriffs, talking with deputies primarily, because as your questions, I've always, everything I have ever been in, all of the work that I've ever done, I'm dealing with doctors, scientists, people who are grounded in facts and evidence. So I talk with law enforcement, and that is what led to that, to me, the pivotal trip where I left Denver, drove for 2.5 hours up to see Sheriff Tex Graves in northern Colorado. He had been recommended as one of the sheriffs who had the most animal mutilation cases. And he was in retirement, which may have helped him talk to me more honestly. But when he pulled out 166 color Polaroids that he had taken himself, and we laid them out on the floor so I could see the timeline, and I was seeing through his eyes and asking him questions. And then he turned to me and he said, I'll save you some time. The perpetrators of these animal mutilations are creatures from outer space.
There's a picture, Linda. There's a picture in A Strange Harvest. And you're standing there, it's black and white, and you're looking at this cow, and you've got, people standing around you. But I swear you can read your mind. You're going, huh.
Right. How is this possible?
Right.
That ear, eye, tongue, jaw, genitals, and rectum can be cored out. There's no blood. There's no fluid at all on the edges. And when you are looking at dust, and there's not a single track, including the animal's own feet, how did it even get there? And that's when Sheriff said, because they're being lowered, Linda. We ranchers have seen them lifted up and lowered in beams of light, and that's how they have no tracks.
But that's not what's interesting. No, let me tell you what's interesting here, young lady. How do you go from Miss Idaho to Stanford to looking at a mutilated cow and absorb? You're not from that world. You are suddenly, thrust into the craziest of woo, and you've got to process this through your mind. How does that woman, from that kind of background, suddenly take all of this in? What was going through your mind?
Because the people I went to were veterinarians. They were the lab people who were doing the necropsy examinations and analysis. I am learning that the excisions on the edges, the hemoglobin is cooked. It is not where a body dies and the temperature goes up 2 or 3 degrees in autolysis. The hemoglobin was cooked. That would explain why no blood. What no one had any current modern human technology to explain were the cases where the sheriff would have a veterinarian do an autopsy in the field. I've done this with veterinarians, and it's sort of like where guys would take a car apart. They know how to take everything apart. They lay all the pieces in order on top of the animal while they go through, and they make grids and they write. And there were case after case where there was no excision in the chest, no excision in the rib cage, and yet the 9 by 11 by 14 heart is missing. And the hearts that were missing, the pericardium was collapsed in the chest with no cut, no hole in the pericardium, which surrounds a cow's heart, surrounds your heart. The mammalian have pericardiums around hearts. So when veterinarians were themselves looking inside of bodies and finding organs that have been removed with no blood, no fluid, and no excision, it was a doctor at the University of Colorado, a medical center, that I showed pictures to and presented him, how do you get a heart out of a 1,700-pound cow without an excision? And he said, but his answer is the key. He said, molecular extraction. And I said, what is molecular extraction? This is 1979 to 80.
Sure.
He said, in 50 years, we're now at 43 years now since I started that first meeting with Sheriff Tex Graves, 43. So in 7 years, we would be at where this doctor back in 79 said, in 50 years, we think that we will have molecular extraction surgery. And that means everything will be done by frequencies. Let's say that you have to have a gallbladder out or even a portion of a gallbladder. You will have an entire frequency grid with instruments that will be going through skin, going through a muscle, will be going through cartilage, bone. They don't touch anything. There's no interaction. The frequency is completely different because it is aimed at, say, the gallbladder. So it goes through your whole rib cage, does the work it needs to do in the gallbladder, is extracted, and the only thing that has happened is removal by molecules from the gallbladder.
Wow.
And that's molecular extraction. And that doctor in 79 at the University of Colorado Medical Center was describing this as this is the only thing that could explain what was happening to the removal of hearts, removal of other abdominal organs. And there, for me, to answer your question specifically, I have always been guided by the pressure of fact. That is the only thing that has ever mattered to me. I was asked by Bill Rivers at Stanford, a professor quite renowned at the time. He asked me if I would submit a chapter that he would put in a book that was published. And I was the girl in the class with the 27 guys. And the title of my chapter was The Pressure of Fact. So I have always turned to science and medicine for analysis. And when you get the kinds of results that kept piling up in my work and reporting it, you are confronted with the possibility that extraterrestrials from some other part of the universe are interacting with the Earth and harvesting genetic material and blood tissues from animals all around the world. That's when I learned it was a global world problem. But it never scared me. I was determined to understand why would extraterrestrial biological entities, as that name began to be used, EBINs, why Earth? Why animals of Earth? Where were they from that there would be any use and application from our planet to whatever they were? So it's probably the way my mind works. I always break problems down into a lot of facets. So I'm studying many, many things simultaneously. And the more I learn in each one, the more the picture gets clearer and clearer. And eventually, when it was, I would say, I had not a doubt, was by the time I got to the year 1993, 94, I had done A Strange Harvest in 79, and it had broadcast in 1980. 1 decade later, throughout the entire 80s, I was covering mutilations everywhere. I was traveling everywhere. I was learning a lot. And then came a huge rash of animal mutilations in Arkansas, Alabama, and the Southeast US. And I get a call from a police officer who was aware of my work, had seen A Strange Harvest, and he said, is there any chance that you could come here and work with us? Because we are confronting things we don't know what to do with. So I spent 2 weeks with law enforcement going out to fresh mutilations. And there were several of people in Huntsville and various places. And they were setting up tripods. They were using good cameras, and they were getting what would be, let's say, a 30-second exposure on a tripod. None of the shaky stuff from cell phones. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And you would see a light in the 30-second exposure that is in the sky, and then you get lines coming out, meaning something in that 30 seconds is coming out of what is in the sky.
Interesting.
Yes, many of them. And those photos are in my Glimpses of Other Realities, Volume 1. Facts and Eyewitnesses is my subtitle. And at the same time, fresh mutilations, fresh pathology, working with law enforcement, civilians working with tripods and great cameras and getting all of this. While I was there, phone call where I was staying. Last night, this happened, that happened, this big thing set down in the yard. It was 30, 50 feet in diameter. And I could go right to the house. I would see in the yard, there were scorch marks in one place. One woman was able to stand on a kind of porch around her house. And I'm being able to talk with her in the morning. And it was only a few hours before. They were doing sketches for me. It was so immediate. It was being in the throe of an entire region that was interacting with UFOs, beams of light, pictures, photos of it, and animal mutilations. And that was my second documentary, Strange Harvest, 1993. Coming out of that, I was working with Dr. John Altshuler in Denver. He was a brilliant hematologist and pathologist. He was only in his middle or late 70s. And we had this great collaboration where I could get a call about a mutilation. He had fixed it up so I would have formalin solution in certain containers, labels of my cut, the sheriff's cut, the UFO cut. And I think it was 30 some animals that I went out and collected tissue and got tissue to Dr. Altshuler. And then I was doing soil samples, worked with a physicist on soil compression. We were definitely proving that the animals were being dropped. We could work backwards from the soil compression to how high a 1,700 pound animal would have to have been to drop to where it is mutilated and compress the soil to the length that it was. I did those kinds of examinations and reports, and the sheriffs and everybody were so grateful. They didn't know how to do it. And so I'm working with a physicist. I'm working with a hematologist. I'm doing report after report after report that is solid. It could hold up in a court of law. And the only answer to everything are the lights, the beams, the eyewitnesses of the UFOs, supported by law enforcement who, it wasn't just Sheriff Tex Graves who said the perpetrators are creatures from outer space. But now I'm full, I have evidentiary material. The haunting, pulsing question to me was, why are extraterrestrial grays, because that's what everybody reported at that time, why are they doing this? What is the reason?
Well, I need to take a break. Let's do it's a good spot to squeeze this in. This is Fade to Black. Linda Moulton Howe. We're live. We're together. I have a co-host tonight. Linda Moulton Howe's our guest. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Linda after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
The Believer is the chilling true story of Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize winner.
This is an outreach program from the cosmos to the consciously impaired.
He risked it all to investigate human encounters with aliens. The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack. Written by award-winning former New York Times journalist and author Ralph Blumenthal. Now available in paperback from High Road Books.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA.
Hi, I'm Ray Sobbs, and I'm here to tell you about something I really think you're going to like. The UNX Network is a part of a larger group called UNX Media, and one of the things we offer is the quarterly UNX magazine, which is available both in print and digital formats. This amazing magazine covers all aspects of the unexplained and makes for a great coffee table periodical that is certain to spark enlightening conversations in your living rooms. We invite you to check out the latest digital issue for for free. Just go to unxnetwork.com/membership and fill out your free membership with your name and email and become a new free member. The new summer issue is now available, and the theme is Time Anomalies, which includes a feature article written by our managing editor, Lee Spiegel. Just go to unxnetwork.com/memberships. That's unxnetwork.com/memberships and get your free e-copy of the Unex magazine today.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer and Unex Networks, Race Hobbs. Tonight, our guest is the one, the only, Linda Moulton Howe, live on camera with me for the first time. And now, Linda, I want to swing back to July 6th. And as we do that, it's very important here. I want to let everybody know the images that Linda was referring to about the orange gray are over at earthfiles.com.
Yeah.
And you can also look at her excellent presentation about this. But a lot of developments have gone down over the last 2 weeks. And Linda, you and I talking earlier today for, I don't know, we probably spent a couple of hours on the phone. My head was swimming with this and the amount of what's the word? You know what? I'm just going to say action. It's action, right? It's been going back and forth. Now, this image, again, everybody can go to earthfiles.com and check it out.
And when you go to www.earthfiles.com, there is a green link to the Earth Files YouTube channel broadcast. And when you click on that, it comes right up to the top show last night, and you automatically click on it, and then you get to see everything that was last night on July 20th.
Now, there were a couple of things. This image, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But it's not just these two images, and we'll talk about that. There's a collection of images, but there's two important points that grabbed me immediately. So I kind of want to start here. And one of the images is what appears to be an ID card or an identification tag.
The orange. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so that is in there. And that I'm always about the facts, right? And immediately I gravitated towards that. So everybody's been hearing us talk about this. So go to Earth Files and you can look at the images.
Yeah.
They were first. I've never seen these before.
Nobody.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. And in the story, that what's important to keep in mind is those two photos, the elongated head and the four-fingered hand, were sent to me a year ago by a military aerospace source, still very much involved. And he wanted me to see that a gray was not gray, that it is cream color with an orange hue under certain light frequencies. And that's why the insiders call them orange grays. That's why, orange grays.
Can I ask you why you sat on the photos for a year before publishing?
It's always been my approach to work with people who seek me out, that you have to get through a period of time where you've done enough corroboration that you feel like if you get something like a photo, that's a big step, because nobody is distributing photos of real ETs. So when I got the head and I got the 4 fingers and a whole bunch more that I still have not interfaced with the public, it's just, I guess it's my always wanting the pressure of fact, sit on them for a while and see if something else emerges. Well, the emergence has been since July 6th, a whole year later. I shared them in the context of that fascinating description that I read, that is a quote from this source, that the skin of the grays, it's not gray, that is the nanotechnology exoskeleton that is self-activating software that is protection. So now I'm seeing that he's saying, here's real photos, and they are sort of cream colored with this orange hue. And that was on July 6th. So the first time I show that. On July 13th, my next show was picking up on material that came in July 6th about a question. Did Dwight Eisenhower, when he was president, do a treaty with Greys or any other type of extraterrestrials in 1954, probably on February 19th? I ended up being able to talk with Ralph Steiner, who has done radio for Pacifica for years. And he had done an interview with a man whose uncle told the family that he was in a highly secret group, small group, military, who went with Dwight Eisenhower to Edwards Air Force Base on February 19th, 1954. He saw the UFO. He saw aliens with large eyes at windows in the UFO. He, as the military uncle telling his nephew, walked up with President Eisenhower to some part of the craft that opened up. Eisenhower went into the craft, according to this story. Then, from there, that was establishing that if he made a treaty, what would the treaty have been for? And Ralph had information, I had information from others about a treaty with Eisenhower that would allow gray beings, even though we've already gone through that they are not gray skinned, that it's technology, but that was what they were called, that the gray beings wanted to have a treaty where they would help the United States with technology, but they would be allowed to harvest a certain amount of tissue and fluid from animals, and they would be able to interact with humans to a limited degree in a treaty that none of us have ever been shown. And that was my story with Ralph and others on the 13th of July.
Mm-hmm.
After the 13th, I got emails from Brazil in Portuguese. I got other in the United States saying, why are you ripping off the Brazilian artist on your Earth Files YouTube? And it was, what? And last night in my program, I was showing that the head, the hand, those photos that had come to me, that there's no date beyond, now here's the important part, between July 6th and the 13th and 13th and the 20th, I was able to show those 2 photos to 2 other JSOC military sources that have helped me on other things, and I have known periodically, and I wanted to see what they would say, and they immediately said, that's Wright-Patterson. That's the lab. These are autopsies.
Let's stop right there for a second, JSOC. We're talking about the Department of Defense and the Pentagon.
Yeah, it's the Joint Special Operations Command. Everything I know now is JSOC is really pulling the strings of everything.
Okay, gotcha.
But the people who do the work in the field, CIA, NSA, DIA, Geospatial. And so the two people that I have trusted for a much longer time than 2 years, for on another scale, they immediate reaction was, this is Wright-Patterson.
And what was the tip-off for Wright-Patterson for them?
They have been in the biological laboratory that is 3 stories down underneath Wright-Patterson surface, and that came out in a congressional budget 4 or 5 years ago. It was a line item that should never have been allowed to the public, but it was in a congressional that there is a 3-story down underground biological lab, and that this is where the biologicals since the 40s. That's where Wright-Patterson biologicals. There have been other places where, let's say it's technology. They have different distribution places to different military, like Provo and Southern Utah. That's where a lot of advanced technology goes.
So they recognize the background, the room.
Yes.
And now, but
there's one more piece. You can't separate them from what happened.
Okay.
So I am presented with the possibility that somebody in Brazil claiming in 2007 received a whole bunch of photos, of which the head and the hand, are part of 11 that the Brazilian has had. And they are, if it's Wright-Patterson, the immediate question is, why would somebody in Brazil who is saying they are an artist and this is a work that they have done as a creation, why would they have 11 photos of an underground biological lab, the most sensitive in the world? And in the year 2007, why would they be receiving photos from people at Wright-Pat? That would have to be the source. And so I said, this is really not logical. So I'm going to turn to Buddy Bolton, who has done remote viewing with the Skinwalker Ranch, with NSA, CIA, DIA. He's really good.
Yeah, he is.
And I'm not going to be in a pissing contest with anybody. I'm going to do what I said. I like to have different facets that I investigate, and that as they come together, you get a better whole instead of only one thing. So I sent Buddy the photographs, and he did. It's a fascinating remote viewing, and that on last night. And he said, this is just a part of a very long hour recording of what he remote viewed. Quote, he sees what is now known as a hydrazine laser cannon. The United States has been using it for some time, but the public in general doesn't know about this. And Buddy sees a hydrazine laser cannon in his mind's eye, how they remote view, in a rainforest. He sees the rainforest around it very clearly.
He doesn't know about Brazil. He doesn't know the connection.
But in his remote viewing.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's just at the photographs. Okay.
That's right. He's just looking at the photos, and his mind sees a rainforest. He knows that the rainforest he is seeing is on the Peru-Brazil border.
Oh,
yes. He draws maps. He always draws maps while he's remote viewing. It's fascinating. And then he sees this beam, and he sees the craft, and he says the beam went to a very specific crucial structural aspect of this particular craft. And it brought it down, and on board were 2 of the orange grays and a Nordic. The Nordic was in charge. Buddy has told me this. My military aerospace source from 3 years ago up to now has told me this, that in most missions, it will be a Nordic or a tall white with grays, not singular grays. The tall white or the Nordic are on these missions. The craft are mission specific. The beings are mission specific, and they will often have cyborgs or small grays on that specific mission. The beam brings it down. Buddy is writing all this down and doing sketches, and comes down on the Brazil-Peru border. He also sees that the Nordic inside the craft moved very rapidly into some kind of a pod and escaped death. We don't know more about that, but that the 2 orange grays were killed.
Can I? Okay.
And that the date, we need a specific date. Everybody needs a specific date. The only number that has come up anywhere has been the Brazilian says that he made a gray for his artwork in 2007.
Now,
that nobody ever heard of or has ever seen. And the orange label that you brought up is in the image on a Dell computer. The shots are not on the body with the camera up close. It's on close in a Dell computer. On the screen, you see the elongated head, and in another screen, you see the 4-finger hands. That surrounding area of the 11 photos that the Brazilian has and says he got in 2007, the people that I know who know because they've been in the biological lab and say immediately that is Wright-Pat Biological Lab, and all of us say at the same time. How? Why would 11 images in 2007 be distributed to some Portuguese person who says he's an artist in Brazil?
Right.
And when Buddy in the remote viewing takes that as one of my questions, and Buddy comes up and says it was clear as day. The CIA is paying this man to be a water muddier in case anything got out about these beings. So we know that the CIA, NSA, DIA since World War II, well, CIA in 47, and those agencies coming in those post-war years, they work in misinformation. They cover real things constantly with something that's already prepared, and they've paid people that will be completely a lie, but it will come out, it will go to the public, it will be covered by the media, and they've taken care of we'll call it the gold that they want to hide. And they've done it thousands of times. This is fascinating because no one that I know who would normally get in touch with me if the Brazilian was telling the truth, they've never seen the story. They've never seen the photos before I did the July 6th broadcast. But my computer tech in Toronto used the Wayback Machine computer.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to see if he could find anything connected to this Brazilian guy in 2007, because the Brazilian guy said he was doing this in 2007. That's how we find this article website that has the 11 images. But the people that I have learned to work with, corroborate what they have told me, all of them say it's Wright-Patterson. Wright-Patterson would not distribute photos to an artist in Brazil.
Right.
Okay, on the face of it, that's logical. But underneath is the possibility that the CIA wanted to make sure that something as dramatic as the United States using a hydrazine laser cannon, knocking out a UFO in the sky that came down, and there are 2 dead orange grays. They didn't want anybody to know that. That is a possibility. That's what Buddy, the remote viewer, Buddy Bolton, that's his scenario from what he got. The bigger picture, which is where I'm always trying to get, is where do facts lead? The United States has been using layers and layers and layers of intelligence, counterintelligence, intelligence, contradictory stories, schizophrenic landscapes. They know that if the New York Times, the Washington Post get something in which the facts are all chopped up, it's all contradictory, an artist is claiming something, the government is claiming something, the mainstream reporters go, I don't want to touch this.
Right.
I have to continue to put one foot in front of the other, because there is no question in my mind at this point, 43 years from when Sheriff Tex Graves said, Linda, the perpetrators are creatures from outer space. Yes, they are. But where I am now is a much more complicated lens. If it is orange grays that are the ones that need material from Earth to survive, because they have had perhaps a 270 million year relationship with this planet, which is incomprehensible to Homo sapiens sapien, who have only been in this form for 45,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that the vested interests of tall whites, Nordics, orange grays, reptilians, blues, the list is going wider and wider all the time. In those 270 million years at least, that comes from a Defense Intelligence Agency analyst to me in December of 1999, Linda, our government has proof that 3 competing extraterrestrial civilizations have been mixing and matching genetic material on this planet for at least 270 million years, and they fight each other over what they do on Earth. And the 3 that he said were the reptilians, who come in many sizes, shapes, and colors, the blondes that we put in this category of Nordics, and the grays, which this orange aspect has been added. And the other part is that the gray skin is not gray skin. It is a nanotechnology exoskeleton. And I want to add one more piece here, because this is really important. When I received that information from my aerospace military, saying, Linda, there is no gray. They are cream with an orange hue. Suddenly I realized that answers a question that I have had ever since 2011, when I interviewed a businessman from Dayton, Ohio, very close to Wright-Patterson, for my news website, earthfiles.com. So there's 2 things. Earthfiles.com is my huge 3,000 story, Real X-Files, science and environment, the website I've done since 1999, where all kinds of photos, thousands of photos, are, because I can put Real X-Files behind a paywall and I won't be taken down off of the web because it's mutilated animals or abductees or something like that. Then there's my Earth Files YouTube channel that started 4 years ago. I can't put photos of animal mutilations on the Earth Files YouTube channel. I'd be taken down.
Yep.
I can't put abductees who have taken photographs of their bodies and showing me all kinds of patterns. I can't do it.
Can't do
Okay,
it.
so if everybody understands, I have this big tent, the earthfiles.com news website, which has been awarded for hard news. And in there are 3,000 reports, but it's text, images, video excerpts. My Earth Files YouTube channel is every Wednesday night. I'm doing an hour, sometimes more. So this is now why I am talking about. In 2011, it hit me as I'm going through July 6th, 13th, and the 20th. My God, I finally have an explanation for a huge mystery on another Wright-Patterson story. And it hit me. I had done this in 2011 in Earth Files. It's there. Everything I've ever done is at earthfiles.com in chronological order. These 3,000 reports. 2011, Dayton, Ohio. I'm doing an interview with a man who contacted me, and he said that he had a friendship with a retired U.S. Air Force flight surgeon. The flight surgeon told him about a non-human autopsy that he was a participant in 1947 at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That and you can go and we put this up. It is only back about 3 weeks ago. You can see the whole story. It's a 4-part story at Earth Files. And the story was that this man had firsthand observation of them bringing in a body. Surgeon assistant. This man is watching with a notepad. There is a glass where there is a military man watching them do the autopsy. He said that there was a discussion between the two surgeons. Do we do a Y or do we do a T? Those are the two main approaches to an autopsy on a human body.
Mm-hmm.
They made a decision. The scalpel came out. The surgeon started to go into the quote unquote gray skin, and the scalpel would not move. That was why the man contacted me back in 2011, that this was a person alive at the time who told him that he was there and they couldn't get a scalpel through the quote unquote skin. And then they realized in 1947, this wasn't skin. This was a bodysuit. They knew it was a bodysuit in 1947 at Wright-Patterson.
Okay, let's take our break right here. We just shot past. I apologize to the network, but I'm not going to stop Linda Moulton Howe. It ain't going to happen. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We're going to pick up where we're leaving off, and we're going to continue with those 11
All right.
We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, VX.
Right now, the world couldn't be more chaotic. History shows us what gold does when the world goes crazy. It goes up in value. Right now, we're in unprecedented times. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against the hyperinflation that's happening right now. So, what can you do to protect yourself? Call my friend Alan Johnson at United Gold Group. He's dedicated to helping people secure their retirement income. He'll help you with gold, with silver, and other precious metals, and show you how to set up your own self-directed IRA. Safe and secure, United Gold Group makes gold ownership easy and affordable. There couldn't be a better time, so call now and get a silver American Eagle proof set with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com. Reach out to my friend, Alan Johnson.
The Believer is the chilling true story of Dr. John Mack, a renowned Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize winner.
This is an outreach program from the cosmos to the consciously impaired.
He risked it all to investigate human encounters with aliens. The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack. Written by award-winning former New York Times journalist and author Ralph Blumenthal. now available in paperback from High Road Books.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unex Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNXDB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact.
Join us August 5th through the 7th, 2022 at the Drury Conference Center in Cape Girardeau, Missouri for the launch of the Midwest Conference on the Unknown. There are 3 interactive days packed with vendors, exhibitors, and nationally recognized researchers presenting on unknown topics like UFO UAP phenomenon, ghosts and Bigfoot, and Missouri's own Momo, the Missouri Monster. Cape Girardeau has long been one of the most sought-out areas for UFO enthusiasts since the 1941 UFO crash, and now is your chance to be a part of the inaugural conference. Visit cape-events.com or follow us on Facebook at Midwest Conference on the Unknown for more information. Ex-listeners get 30% off by using the promo code XVIP. That's cape-events.com, promo code XVIP.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B blend for 15% off of your order today.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony. Damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe is with us, Contact 2.0. Now, we are talking about this set of photographs and images that Linda first posted up 2 of the images back on July 6th. And Linda, there's so much more. I can't believe we're going to run out of time again. How do we?
Well, I do have what I think is a really important bead that is kind of a period on this story that I still haven't gotten to. And that is, it's not very long, but it's the direct quote summary from Buddy Bolton about this whole thing.
All right, let's hear it.
Quote, I saw the craft going on a path to Homestead Air Force Base. It got refueled in the Caribbean. And then from there, it went directly to Wright-Patterson. Everything was disseminated there. Most of the biologicals stayed at Wright-Patterson. Wright-Patterson has a biological medical laboratory on the 3rd floor down. It was revealed that this biological laboratory at Wright-Patterson, in one of these congressional budget documents, there's a line item for it there. And I asked him in the recording, and that these 2 photos that have become controversial, it underscores, buddy, that the United States has had layers and layers of counterintelligence to counter every single thing that has emerged about extraterrestrials going all the way back to World War II. He says, absolutely, and it's all for weapons. And I said, what is your bottom line perspective on the photographs of the elongated head with the black eyes, the orange gray, and the 4-fingered hand? Buddy Bolton, from his remote viewing, quote, it's real. And I have no question of that in my mind and in my heart. It is the closest, the most detailed, and the best extraterrestrial photo that's out there, close quote.
Now, they are amazing photographs, the 2 that you presented so far. I haven't seen the rest of them. But here's my question. Well, no, I have 2. First, I'm sure you're doing this now, is analysis on the background, not the foreground. You know, the detail is in the background.
Yeah.
And breaking that down, number 1, and will you be making that public?
Yes.
2, when are we going to see, are you going to publish the rest of the photographs?
It's the Brazilian guy's website is the only place that I know that has 11 with says the year that it was posted was 2007. And my computer tech proved that by going back in the Wayback Machine and finds the article 2007 when these 11 photos first emerged in Brazil that none of us have ever known anything about. So they're there. I am now, exactly as you said, I'm working with 2 different directions to get confirmation on every one of the 11 photos by looking at the photos in the Brazil site, telling me what they know. That's what I'm going to report. And then I'm going to ask if there is any other independent way for them from the original source, whether Wright-Patterson or wherever it is, can Earth Files receive those same photos? Why would 11 photos go from Wright-Pat to somebody in Brazil? Do you see what I mean? In 2007.
Right.
The only explanation is Buddy earlier in the remote viewing said this artist claiming that the photos are from his work is working for the CIA and is being paid.
Well, okay. So I haven't seen the images, but the question is a direct one, Linda. If this guy's an artist in these photos, is it a frigging art studio in the background? Or is it a biological lab in the background that a Brazilian artist isn't going to reach?
It's not going to have.
Right.
And one of the pieces that I'm just going to say it tonight, I've been holding back a little bit because I'm waiting for this all congeal. But there is a huge crane. You know how in a lab that would have a high ceiling so they could get equipment to carry up heavy things?
I haven't been to a biological.
There is one of the photos. You're seeing a major, really heavy duty crane that is lifting up this strange silver gumdrop that seems to have maybe some of the self-activating software on it. No artist in Brazil is going to have any of what you're seeing like that in these lab photos. And right now, from my point of view, the people who have been there, who have worked, who have been down in the lab, who are willing to try to help me, that's what I'm waiting for.
All Brazilian artists have pods with cranes. You didn't know?
that can lift 5 tons.
They all have that down there. We're just catching up, Linda. The artists on Venice Beach in California are just catching up to the Brazilian art tech. But is there, when you look at the photographs, I'm not making light of this, but I do think it's funny, though. Do you see lab equipment in the background? Is there a high
all over?
Really?
You're in a lab with wires and coils and Dell computer screens and pipes, and yes, and that is right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
The people that way before I never knew anything about this Brazil guy with the 7 photos until about 8 days ago. I didn't know anything.
Right.
That's when I got the first, we'll say, emails. Why are you ripping off this guy in Brazil? And I said, what? And then Eric in Canada does the Wayback Machine, finds it, but it is 2007. Everybody keep that in mind. 2007, somebody sent a man in Brazil 11 sensitive photos from Wright-Patterson, because I've already had the identification from 2 people. That is Wright-Pat. Right there, it moves into a category that can only be one thing, which is what Buddy also talked about in remote viewing. Our government uses CIA, NSA, DIA, but especially the CIA, on units when they want to make sure that something they are doing is never, ever going to reach the public. They have all kinds of things that are set up that if X, Y, and Z happens, this gets thrown onto events, and it will be something like, oh, now an artist in Brazil is claiming that he made these extraterrestrial biological entities that were actually shot down over the Peru Brazil border in 2007, if that is the correct date. So you can see it's theater, paid theater, to cover up real and serious events with UFOs and ETs. They've been doing this for 80 years.
Now, what have you found out about, I'm going to say toe tag. I don't know, have another way to put it. I thought it might have been an ID card, but what have you been able to extract from that?
The orange.
The tag, yeah, whatever that is.
The orange tag, one source said that the orange tag he has seen in the biological lab in Wright-Pat.
Okay.
So let's assume that that is something that Wright-Patterson has produced by the millions in some company and their orange tags, and that's what Wright-Patterson uses. Printed on it was, I think it was 0035 or 33. The first number could be like a catalog directory number, that here's a new item and this is the number where they are. It's the next 2 numbers, 02 and 2007. That seems logically to be February of 2007.
Yep.
And I am waiting, and I'm happy to let you know as soon as I have had people who should be able to get an answer. Well, is there a document? What is the date of the document of the actual shoot down? The Brazil person doesn't have that. And I would like to see if I can get a document or an actual date from a document, and try to then do a timeline, because right now there's that orange card with those numbers. There's the Brazilian who put in a website in Portuguese 11 photos in 2007. You see how crazy this is?
Yeah, it is.
And nobody has ever heard or seen anything in 15 years until right now, because Linda at Earth Files does an honest July 6th story that has to do with somebody who really knows a lot about these beings, who says grays are not really gray. That's how this started.
Mm-hmm.
Why I decided to put the photos out. And then comes this, it's like a phony brass ringer gets thrown into the mix. It's the Brazil phony brass thing that is like CIA written all over it to misinform.
You know, you would think that somebody, including myself, that these photographs would have been all over the web for a long time, fake or real. That part doesn't matter.
Right. But they haven't been anywhere.
They have not been seen. Yeah. And I did a show to the point here. I did a show about 7 or 8 years ago where I went back and I looked at, and you're able to Google search all of this stuff, right? And do a reverse Google search. So I went to all of the, I took like a dozen of the ET photographs that everybody uses all over the web all the time. And I broke it down. Now, look, there were some hearts that were ripped out of a lot of people. I get it because we see it over and over and there's a story tied behind it. But I broke it down. This is from a movie set. This is from the Roswell Museum, whatever, and you know what? I upset a lot of people, but it cleared up a lot of different things, right? But I was able to have access to those images. These images are not out there.
That's right.
I've
That's
never
right.
seen it before. It's mind blowing to me.
Yes. And when I first got those a year ago, my honest, internal, intuitive gut reaction was, oh my God, I am finally looking into the face of a gray.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what went through me. And then the hand with the 4 fingers and the dark. Human women and men do not have normally black or brown, orange nails. It's like it stands out as something that is real to that hand. And in my book, going all the way back to the 1983 and another one in 73, when the Judy Doherty and her daughter, they get abducted, they are looking at grays. They are taking tissue from testicles from a calf. The mother and daughter saw the calf going up in a beam of light. And that is where they say the hands look funny. They have dark nails like animal claws. That goes all the way back to the spring of 1983.
Do you anticipate how do I say this? Do you anticipate the disinformation thing that's it's already kind of started, but the pressure that's going to come on and out to debunk these photographs, and do you see that happening next, where this is going to be like a campaign?
I'll tell you what is different. I had them for a year. Nobody but me, literally no one saw those photos. And as far as I was concerned, I was waiting for something to shift politically, to be very straightforward, meaning it felt like a year ago that we were moving toward, they're finally going to have a plan for how to open up We're Not Alone in This Universe. They're finally going to start introducing ETs. Wait until the government is breaking it open.
Right.
And then that was the way I felt natural. And when my aerospace source, who has been so reliable and so accurate about so many things for 3 years, sends me those photos and then sends me that fascinating material, Linda, grays are not really gray, and then talks about the nanotechnology suit, all of that happened. All of this has been evolving before this past week when Brazil finally emerged. So that I was feeling that I was getting even more details, not less. Nobody was attacking the July 6th show. Nobody was attacking the July 13th show. It was the Brazilian, and the photos emerged 4 or 5 days ago. And that's why last night on the 20th. So this has been a span of 2 weeks where the reaction to the photos from abductees, from the people that I know have worked in the Pentagon, it's all been, oh my God, that's real. That has been the constant, what I'm going to say, the untouched, they have nothing to do with Brazil, which I think is probably a paid operation.
Mm-hmm.
This is reaction from people who have actually themselves seen because they worked in military or the lab. So I've had reinforcement that this is finally a real quote unquote gray that is not gray.
One of the things that I like, and Linda will come back for overtime here in 2 minutes, and we'll loosen things up and have a little more fun like we always do, because it's been a very serious show. But one of the things that I love about this community, and you've enjoyed this over the years too as well, is that once our community is smart. And we have scientists, we have video experts, we have photography experts, we have biology experts, all facets, right? And once they lay eyes on a photograph or a video, our community can break it down faster than anybody else, man. Any university, any newspaper, any news network, or the Department of Defense, we can break it down. And we're going to be able to look at the background. We're going to look at the instruments there. We're going to, and that's going to happen very, very, it'll be, you know what? 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes. We'll be able to break this down. And I'm very excited about this. Let's take our break and come straight back, and we'll close this thing out. I've got some more things that I'm going to talk with Linda about. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Linda, video. It's the best. Linda, stay right there. We'll be right back. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer and UNX Networks. Race Hobbs. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the X.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Right now, Eden Pure is having their famous BOGO deal on thunderstorm air purifiers. One listener wrote, "It makes a huge difference in our cat litter box stink. I just wish I waited for the BOGO deal. I need another one." Well, now's the time. BOGO is back, so when you buy one thunderstorm, you get one free. No matter how many you buy 2, you get 2 free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. The thunderstorm will completely eliminate any odor, even the worst like pets, cigarette smoke, urine, and cooking. Now is the time to order. Eden Pure's buy one, get one free sale is 1 week only. With over 265,000 thunderstorms sold and countless 5-star reviews, you know it works. People are buying several for around the home and even as gifts. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and use discount code FADERBOGO. That's FADERBOGO, FADERBOGO. BOGO is buy one, get one free. That's EdenPureDeals.com, discount code FADERBOGO. And as always, shipping is free.
This is Billy Carson, founder and CEO of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv is the fastest growing and one of the most watched networks in the world. And I would like to personally invite you to check out our expanding library of TV, film, lectures, and special presentations. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv has over 6,000 videos covering lost history, health, UFOs, spirituality, and our future. We are committed to our community, and with my personal invitation, you can right now get your own free 30-day membership at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Your own library of information starts today at ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Your 1 million gigawatt paranormal powerhouse, KUNX-DB, BX.
Are you ready to read about true paranormal events? Unex Media publishes nonfiction books about UFOs, ghosts and haunted places, time anomalies, cryptid creatures, and more. Just like KUNX-DB Radio, it's all about unexplained phenomena. Visit www.unxmedia.com to see our list of great book titles by Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Gene Walker, Devin Listrom, Wayne Lawrence, Bill Spicer, and yours truly, Margie Kay. That's unxmedia.com.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Linda Moulton Howe going into overtime. We run out of time every single episode with Linda over the years. And Linda, I want to go back to your point that you made right before the break, and that is the conversations that we were having a year ago. And very specifically, you and I spent a week together shooting a film. We had excellent conversations with our friends, and most of it caught on tape. The dinners were even videotaped. And the conversations, now it was you, Whitley, myself, William Henry, Richard Dolan. So the five of us sat and talked for a week. And the excitement that we had then, like you just pointed out, was things were moving forward at a very fast clip. But yeah, you just made a great reference. Things have changed in the last year. And believe it or not, we are in July. We shot that in August. So yes, it was nearly a year ago. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Where is your mind now? What's your attitude today and moving forward versus a year ago?
My military aerospace source for the last 3 years recently communicated that he is aware of a plan to use the James Webb telescope, and that he and a few others are trying to argue that the place that should be opened up first as having other civilizations is the Trappist 1.
Yes.
It's all caps TRAPPIST -1. And there are at least 4. Buddy Bolton gets 4 planets that have life on them, intelligent life, buildings, structures, civilization. One of them being an all water. And this has come up before in other, well, let's just say with abductees, where they have been, where the creatures are in water, but they're extremely intelligent, and that they build things even though they're water beings. And and if that happened, then the scenario, as he has laid it out, it would be New York Times, Washington Post, Guardian headline, James Webb, signature, chemistry, water, atmosphere, proved habitable life could be present or is present. We've nailed it. We know that Trappist has life. That they can do with the James Webb. And why I think that that is not a bad plan. Trappist is out, I'm trying to remember, it's I think it's about 40 light years, and they're looking at solar systems that are within approximately 40, 50 light years of us.
For a lot of reasons.
And there's a lot, and there is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would any human have fear of something that is out there light years away? And now they're saying a telescope says, we've affirmed this is a planet with life. And now we're going to send out orbiters, or we're going to send out something. And it will be an evolution in time to saying, here is who lives on this planet, but they will at least begin breaking open. We're not alone in the universe. Once that happens, Jimmy, just that headline, with the Vatican leading the charge,
mm-hmm.
the world begins to change. The idea that we have been kept dumb and blind and deliberately suppressed by power brokers who did not want humans to know about other life in the universe that they have known for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
There's something so wrong, and in the end, humanity by now may have been much more collaborative. Because once you know that you are a civilization on a planet and there are other civilizations, and you then have to start thinking, who is my real friend? Who is my real enemy? That brings humanity closer together.
Absolutely. Absolutely it does. And here's for me, I have a difficult time wrapping my head around this fact. We have now reached a point. It's not about exoplanets. We're discovering those every day. But we have reached a point, technically, with technology, that we can observe a planet 40, 50, 100 light years away and see if it has a biosphere.
Exactly.
That's insane, right? I mean, that is just...
It's now. It's happening.
It's happening. I mean, it's just like the craziest. You know, you and I as kids, we're almost the same age. I'm just a little bit younger, not much. I'm going to be 60, you know, and, that's coming up.
Well, I don't mind if people, I'm in my 80th revolution around the sun. I have never been more excited. I feel great. And there is, did you see this headline? It came to me today, and scientists are working on a drug that lets you live for 200 years.
You're already taking it.
I want this.
Yeah, you're already taking it.
I want to keep going, doing exactly, exploring and meeting new extraterrestrials. And this whole issue of breaking this open and finally having the planet, the humanity, introduced to grays or orange grays and the tall whites and the Nordics and maybe the reptilians and all of these others, that it will happen and that we are moving toward, if all of this would evolve, to know that Homo sapiens sapien could finally look at each other as something that we need in order for us to survive, not to rip off, not to go to war with. Humanity needs humanity to survive.
Yeah, we're earthlings.
Yes, and the others have their, and that there are hostiles. The tronoloid insects are real, and they are a huge threat, and JSOC knows all about it. Reagan was given that briefing, other presidents. There are many dangers in this universe. Gamma ray bursts could kill off life. To get to a point where we are communicating with people who know how to go 50 light years in 5 Earth days in Alcubierre warp drive.
Sure.
Who know how to go and extend themselves into timelines, see problems, can figure out how to fix a problem, and then know how to make somewhere in the future be changed. My God, what could be more exciting if we were actually saying, okay, we are finally not babies anymore, and we are able to work side by side with you guys that have been here for up 2 billion years. It is way past time that humanity is not in a reality that is classified, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's
nuts.
No. And here's the thing. There's perseverance. There's other things that we are doing, and radio telescopes and fast radio bursts, and there's all of that. But the James Webb Telescope, for the first time, not only the biosphere aspect of it, but there's other things that the James Webb Telescope can see and detect and confirm. Are we ready for it? Because I agree with you that the headline is going to come probably from James Webb, and there is, for me, there's one reason why, and TRAPPIST-1 is so interesting. There's 6 planets there, 4.
7. There's 7 planets, of which 3 or 4 could have life.
That's right, but it's 40 light years away. That's more important to me than anything, because we have been broadcasting from here for let's just say 100 years. We want to stay in that 40 light year window, because that's when any day now we could expect some response from something going out, 100 light years. It would be that 40 to 50 light year window when we could expect a lot of responses. And one of them would be TRAPPIST-1, and which is a reason for James Webb to focus on that. I don't think that's a coincidence, Linda.
I think it's been orchestrated for a long time up to this point, but they had to get the James Webb up.
Yep.
And that, okay. And another thing, don't lose sight of, I am now personally convinced that Dwight D. Eisenhower, as president, had 3 separate meetings with extraterrestrial biological entities in the year 1954. All 3 may not have taken place on February 19th, but I think they probably took place in February of 1954. And that treaties were made. All of it has been denied for so long. And yet, why am I stressing that? Our government not only knew that World War II was an extraterrestrial war fought through human bodies. Dwight D. Eisenhower was introduced physically in their craft to the extraterrestrials. That's why MJ-12 has had the group, the only group perhaps that for a long time had all of the details that were available. So they could keep it like this. And then all these layers of intel that have kept all of the facts and the truth away from the public for 80 years since World War II and all the evolving years. For us to finally be at a point where, whether it's Proxima, whether it's going to be the Trappist, it is so important, it seems to me, for the whole rest of the millennia that we have to get through the lies, because otherwise we're living in a civilization that is built on policies of denial and lies. It's entrenched. How can people, a planet, anything survive when it is completely defined by a tiny minority that is manipulating everybody else by lies? That's part of the choppy, horrible, everybody feels it. People are saying to each other now, who do you trust? Nobody trusts anything. And that's not good. We need to have this breakthrough. We need to finally have people say, I knew it. I knew that there were extraterrestrials. There will be some kind of relief psychologically, I personally think. The Tronoloids, they're a threat. Why can't we learn about both the good guys and the threat at the same time? We are old enough to be able to do that.
I live just a few short miles from Edwards Air Force Base. I'm out here in the Mojave Desert, right?
No, tall whites are out there underground.
Well, check this out. So check this out. I've never told you this story. I'm going to tell you the short version of it because I want your response. So I'm looking at real estate, and this is over a year ago. And so one night I walk out of my hotel and I'm looking, it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, man, Edwards is right there. Screw it. I jump in the Jeep, Linda, and I drive and I'm following. Okay, this is the short version of the story, and it involves a flying saucer. I'm using the words flying saucer, not a craft. This is what happens. Drive out into the dark, into the desert, pull over on the side of the road, get out of the Jeep, go across the street, and I'm looking at Edwards, which is like 2 miles away. I could see it lit up, and I'm looking at, and Linda, as I live and breathe, this is what happens. I'm looking at Edwards, and like 10 degrees up, like right in my line of sight, right? This thing lights up, and it was like static on a TV, and then on the bottom of it, it goes a ring of lights, and then goes black. I was like, what? Right. And so I'm standing there. I'm like, well, that was kind of different. And it happens a second time. It's static, like a TV, black and white, and it goes black. And now I've got my cell phone, and long story short, I get the cell phone out, 20 minutes, nothing. Of course, right? Okay, so I get back in the Jeep, I drive back to the hotel, and the next morning, I get up after breakfast, and I'm like, man, Edwards, man, I'm going back. So I drive back. Now it's in the middle of the day, right? It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I find my tire tracks. I go to the same spot, go across the street. There's my footprints. Now I'm looking at the no trespassing signs that I didn't see the night before. And I'm looking at the fence line. I'm looking at Edwards. And you know what's in the sky above the sky? There's nothing there. I thought it might have been something on the top of a tower warning light. There's nothing there. And I get back in the Jeep, and now I've got to tell the frigging flying saucer story, right? Not a black triangle, not a mother. I got a flying saucer, really, Jimmy? But that's Edwards Air Force Base.
Oh, all around. I mean, it's been. Remember, Edwards was Muroc.
Yeah, Muroc Air Base. Yeah.
Yes, and what happened? Remember the story about Muroc sending a team to Dulce, New Mexico, because there was evidence that there were grays underground in Dulce, and they sent a team in there to confront, and it turned into some sort of a battle. And I've heard versions of it from different people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Muroc goes back to before 1951, I believe. Edwards became into existence somewhere in 51, 52, somewhere in there. But Muroc and Edwards are one and the same. The names just changed.
Right.
That means that land was being involved. They knew that there were grays underground in Dulce.
There is the reports about Muroc and Edwards and the official site, right, of these, let's just say flying saucers, over that base being videotaped. And of course, Eisenhower leaving Palm Springs for the dental appointment, right? That was on the book.
Which is what I'm talking about, that Ralph Steiner had that guy that I interviewed whose uncle was with Eisenhower when they walked up a plank and went in. Eisenhower went into a UFO. That was the same issue time, and the dentist was used to cover it up.
Have you been to Edwards? Have you been to Edwards?
I have never been on that property. I've been in a lot of area around there for other things, but I've never been on it.
It is, you've got to come back out and I'll take you. We'll do a little, we'll have a Men in Black chase.
And with cameras, cameras and tripods.
And see, the crazy thing is, all around Edwards, it's technically, it's like a testing and training base, right? And so, but the amount of signage that they have around the base of no parking your vehicle, no off-road vehicles, no drones, no RCs, no videotape, no photography, do not stop. These signs are everywhere. And if it's just a base, what's the big deal?
No, it's not just a base. Right. Underneath, going down floors and floors. I have an interview that I did 2 years ago with a woman whose husband worked underground, wanted her to see, didn't tell her what he was taking her to see, his wife, gets her into through his security badge, goes into an elevator. They go down many floors. It opens up. He wants her to walk out. He said, I'll be behind you. He said, walk toward, and there was like a room of cement on the floor where they're coming out of the elevator.
You introduced me to her.
Celestine.
Yeah, you introduced me to her. I had her on Fade to Black briefly, and she sent me some images. It's an incredible story.
Well, when he said, walk up to that rectangle, it was a little rectangle in the cement wall. She still has no idea because it's all cement around the little rectangle.
Uh-huh.
And she approaches, steps up on her toes, and I don't know, I can't, maybe I can, if you can imagine, it's like a dinosaur back. And she did this, and she said, when she came up to the glass, it went.
Yeah, right.
Right at her, right to the glass.
You did. That was a good recreation.
And that was, and I believe everything she said, because I've heard other stories, but the idea, the next part after, we are working with it. My God.
Yeah, right. And here's the
looked like a dinosaur.
Yeah. And here's the other. These are facts. I'm not exaggerating any of this. So Edwards is, it's down the street, and then a mile from my house, just south of Edwards, is everything else: Lockheed Skunk Works, Northrop Grumman, NASA, Air Force Plant 42. Coincidence? No. I shot.
They need each other.
I shot a video today. It's checked. I'm just going to hold it up to the hold on. I shot a video today, And this is a plane flying over my house. You can see it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this plane over my house, it's over my house. It's a giant transport. And then what does it do? I'm not going to show the whole video. It's like 2 minutes long. Watch him. He's taking a turn. Dude turns over my house and then lands at Edwards. Takes off from Skunk Works, flies over my house, goes around the trees, and then lands at Edwards.
And he's in there saying, and that's where Jimmy Church lives.
We can see him. He's in the backyard right now. But this is, it's not a coincidence that all of this stuff is going on here.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
Linda, you're the very best. Thank you. It was just a perfect show. What's next up over at Earth Files? What are you working on?
More threads that I am doing deep dives in around what we've talked about tonight. And I'm going to continue to report new developments when I feel that I am getting firsthand documents. I've got requests out. And I am fascinated with the idea that we are almost at August, and that I have been told that maybe as early as April of 2023 could come the James Webb Telescope announcement that they have the chemistry, and it could be TRAPPIST. And once that occurs, it's like, for me, it's like all of the last 43 years, it'll be 44, have been worth everything to get finally to that point and be alive to finally see a step that should have been 2,000, 5,000, 12,000 years ago.
Now, next time that you're on the show next month or whatever, we get fluffy, muffy chocolate.
Oh, yes.
Okay, we get the whole the whole cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
They come up here with their big furry bodies and stay through the show.
Man, this is so special. Linda, thank you so much. I'll talk to you first thing in the morning. But thank you. It was just a perfect show. Thank you so much.
Love you, dear Jimmy. To truth. Facts.
Thank you, Linda. Have a great night. Thank you so much. And we just went bumper to bumper, pole to pole with Linda. It was just a perfect show. Thank you so much, Linda. You are the absolute very best. And with that, I want everybody to have a great, safe, fun, amazing weekend. Linda, stay right there. I'll talk to you in just a second after we get off the networks. Don't go anywhere, young lady. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2022 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black of the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Everybody have a great, safe, fun, amazing weekend. Do everything that I would do. Just don't get arrested. I'll see you on Monday. Go Beckley Teppy.